Every successful life, regardless of industry, background, or circumstance, is quietly shaped by what happens in the first moments after waking up, long before the world demands attention, before responsibilities crowd the mind, and before distractions steal focus. There exists a brief window of opportunity. This window is not measured in hours but in minutes. 10 minutes used intentionally can determine the emotional tone, mental clarity, and level of discipline that follow you throughout the day. This is not motivational exaggeration. It is a psychological and neurological truth. Most people begin their mornings in reaction mode. The alarm rings, the phone is checked, notifications flood the brain, and stress enters consciousness before purpose does. In this state, the mind is programmed for survival, not success. Anxiety replaces intention, urgency replaces clarity, and the day is lived as a response to external pressures rather than an expression of internal direction. Over time, this reactive pattern becomes a habit, and habits repeated daily shape destiny. A 10-minute morning routine is not about adding more tasks to an already busy life. It is about reclaiming control over the most influential part of your day. Neuroscience shows that the brain is most suggestible in the first moments after waking. Thoughts planted during this time carry disproportionate weight. Emotions felt during this time linger longer. Decisions made during this time influence behavior more strongly. When these minutes are left unguarded, they are easily hijacked by fear, distraction, and doubt. When they are designed intentionally, they become a powerful tool for success. Success, contrary to popular belief, is not created by extraordinary events. It is created by ordinary actions performed consistently with purpose. The morning routine described here does not rely on willpower, complex strategies, or unrealistic discipline. It relies on structure, simplicity, and repetition. 10 minutes that train the mind to focus, the emotions to align, and the identity to strengthen. This routine is not about becoming someone else. It is about becoming more of who you are capable of being. The goal is not perfection. The goal is momentum. When you begin your day with momentum, even small actions feel meaningful. When you begin your day with intention, distractions lose their power. When you begin your day with clarity, challenges become manageable instead of overwhelming. The first principle of this routine is understanding that your mind needs direction before it needs information. Most people flood their minds with news, messages, and social media before they have established a mental frame for the day. This is equivalent to letting strangers decide your emotional state. A successful morning routine reverses this order. You decide how you will think before the world tells you what to think about. The second principle is emotional priming. Logic alone does not drive behavior. Emotion does. You can know exactly what you should do and still fail to act if the emotional state is misaligned. A successful morning routine creates an emotional baseline of confidence, gratitude, and determination. From this state, productive action becomes natural rather than forced. The third principle is identity reinforcement. Every action you take is a vote for the type of person you believe yourself to be. When your morning begins with intentional actions, you reinforce the identity of a disciplined, focused, and purposeful individual. Over time, this identity becomes self-sustaining. You no longer rely on motivation. Because your actions align with who you believe you are, the power of a 10-minute routine lies in its sustainability. Anyone can follow a strict routine for a few days. Few can maintain a complex routine for months or years. Simplicity is not weakness. It is strength. A routine that fits into any lifestyle, regardless of schedule or environment, is far more valuable than one that works only under ideal conditions. This routine is designed to be done immediately after waking, before checking your phone, before engaging with the outside world, and before the mind becomes cluttered. It requires no special equipment, no external resources, and no prior experience. What it requires is a decision to treat your mornings as sacred rather than expendable. The first minute of this routine is dedicated to conscious awakening. Instead of rushing out of bed or drifting back into sleep, you pause. You breathe. You acknowledge that a new day has begun. This moment of awareness signals to the brain that you are in control. It breaks the autopilot mode that dominates most mornings. Even a single deep, Intentional breath can shift your nervous system from chaos to calm. The next phase focuses on mental clarity. Thoughts often race uncontrollably in the morning, jumping from responsibility to responsibility without structure. Rather than trying to suppress these thoughts, you observe them. Observation creates distance. Distance creates choice. When you see your thoughts instead of being consumed by them, you regain authority over your mind. As the routine progresses, the focus shifts toward intentional thinking. You choose one guiding intention for the day. Not a long list of goals, not a complex plan, but a single principle that defines how you want to show up. This could be focus, patience, courage, discipline, or growth. This intention becomes a mental anchor. When distractions arise, you return to it. When challenges appear, you respond through it. Gratitude plays a crucial role in priming the mind for success. This is not about forced positivity or ignoring difficulties. It is about training the mind to recognize resources instead of only problems. When gratitude becomes a daily practice, the brain becomes more resilient. Stress loses its intensity. Confidence grows quietly but steadily. Visualization follows naturally. The mind does not distinguish clearly between vividly imagined experiences and real ones. When you mentally rehearse success, confidence increases. When you see yourself acting with discipline becomes easier. This is not wishful thinking. It is neurological conditioning. Elite performers in every field use this principle intentionally. The final moments of the routine are devoted to commitment. You do not promise perfection. You do not demand unrealistic result. You simply commit to taking the next right action. Success is not built in leaps. It is built in steps. A calm, focused commitment at the start of the day dramatically increases the likelihood of meaningful progress. By the time these 10 minutes end, something subtle but powerful has occurred. You have shifted from reaction to intention, from distraction to clarity, and from doubt to direction. The day ahead may still contain challenges, but you will meet them from a place of strength rather than chaos. This routine does not eliminate difficulty. It prepares you for it. It does not guarantee success. It makes success more likely. Over time, the compounding effect of these 10 minutes becomes undeniable. Days turn into weeks, weeks into months, and before you realize it, your mindset has changed, your habits have evolved, and your life has begun to reflect the discipline of your mornings. And this is only the beginning. To fully understand why a 10-minute morning routine is so powerful, it is essential to understand how the human brain functions in the early moments of the day. When you wake up, your brain transitions from a state of deep rest into heightened suggestibility. During this period, known as the hypnopompic state, the subconscious mind is more open to influence than at any other time. Thoughts absorbed in this window bypass many of the filters that normally protect the conscious mind, embedding themselves more deeply into belief systems and emotional patterns. This is why mornings often set the emotional tone for the entire day. A stressful start amplifies anxiety, while a calm and intentional start increases resilience. Most people are unaware that they are programming their minds every morning, whether intentionally or unintentionally. The difference between successful individuals and those who feel constantly overwhelmed is not intelligence or luck. It is awareness and structure. A structured morning routine acts as a form of mental conditioning. Just as athletes warm up their bodies before performance, high performers warm up their minds. Without this warm-up, the mind operates inefficiently, reacting emotionally instead of responding strategically. Over time, this reactive pattern drains energy, erodes confidence, and creates a sense of constant struggle. One of the most overlooked aspects of success is emotional regulation. People often assume that successful individuals are naturally confident or fearless. In reality, they experience the same doubts and fears as everyone else. The difference lies in how they manage these emotions. A morning routine provides a daily opportunity to reset emotional patterns before they escalate. During the first few minutes of the routine, breathing and stillness serve as a signal to the nervous system that there is no immediate threat. This shifts the body from a state of fight or flight into a state of clarity and focus. When the nervous system is regulated, decision-making improves, creativity increases, stress becomes manageable rather than paralyzing. As the routine continues, Attention is deliberately redirected from problems to possibilities. This does not mean ignoring responsibilities or challenges. It means choosing to view them through a lens of capability rather than helplessness. When the mind is trained to ask empowering questions in the morning, it continues to ask them throughout the day. Instead of asking, "Why is this happening to me?" the mind begins to ask, "How can I handle this effectively?" This shift in questioning has a profound impact on behavior. Empowering questions lead to productive actions. Disempowering questions lead to avoidance and procrastination. Over time, the type of questions you habitually ask becomes the architecture of your mindset. A 10-minute routine may seem insignificant, but it is long enough to change the questions that shape your life. Visualization, when practiced consistently, strengthens neural pathways associated with confidence and competence. The brain responds to repeated mental imagery as if it were physical practice. This is why visualization is used by elite athletes, performers, and leaders. By mentally rehearsing success each morning, you reduce uncertainty and increase familiarity with positive outcomes. This familiarity is critical. Fear often arises not from difficulty but from unfamiliarity. When the mind repeatedly sees itself handling challenges effectively, challenges lose their emotional charge. Confidence is not arrogance. It is familiarity with your own capabilities. A morning routine builds this familiarity quietly, day after day. Another essential component of mental priming is identity alignment. Most people attempt to change their lives by changing their goals. Each morning you follow through with your routine. You send a powerful message to yourself. You are someone who keeps commitments. This message may seem small, but it accumulates. Over time, self-trust grows. And self-trust is the foundation of confidence. Without it, motivation collapses under pressure. Consistency matters more than intensity. A routine performed imperfectly every day is far more powerful than a routine performed perfectly once in a while. The goal is not to feel extraordinary every morning. It is to feel centered. Centered individuals make better decisions. Better decisions lead to better outcomes. The routine also creates a psychological buffer between waking and working. This buffer is crucial in a world that constantly demands attention. Without it, external stimuli dictate internal states. With it, you choose how you respond. This sense of control reduces stress and increases satisfaction, even during demanding days. Over time, this daily practice reshapes how you perceive time itself. Instead of feeling rushed from the moment you wake up, you experience a sense of spaciousness. This does not mean you have more time. It means you use time more intentionally. Intentional time use creates a sense of progress, and progress fuels motivation. It is important to recognize that resistance may arise. The mind resists change, even positive change, because familiarity feels safe. Some mornings the routine may feel unnecessary or inconvenient. These moments are not failures. They are tests of identity. Each time you choose to continue, you strengthen the part of yourself that values growth over comfort. As this routine becomes habitual, its influence extends beyond the morning. You may notice improved focus, increased emotional stability, and a greater sense of purpose throughout the day. These changes are not dramatic or immediate, but they are cumulative. Success is rarely a sudden transformation. It is a gradual alignment. This alignment affects not only productivity, but also relationships. When you begin the day grounded and intentional, you communicate more clearly, listen more attentively, and respond more patiently. Emotional regulation improves interpersonal dynamics, which in turn reduces stress and increases fulfillment. The most powerful aspect of this routine is its universality. It works regardless of profession, age, or circumstance. Whether you are building a business, pursuing education, or simply striving for a more meaningful life, the principles remain the same. The mind must be primed before it performs. This priming does not require external validation or perfect conditions. It requires only a willingness to pause, reflect, and choose intention over impulse. In a world that glorifies busyness, this choice is revolutionary. And yet, this routine is not about withdrawing from the world. It is about engaging with it more effectively. When the mind is clear, challenges become opportunities for growth rather than sources of anxiety. When emotions are regulated, setbacks become lessons rather than defeats. As we move forward, The next part will explore the exact internal dialogue, emotional cues, and mental frameworks that transform these 10 minutes into a lifelong advantage. The deeper mechanics of focus, discipline, and sustained motivation will become clearer, because success is not a matter of chance. It is a matter of preparation. To transform a simple morning routine into a powerful catalyst for long-term success, the internal dialogue you engage in during these 10 minutes must be intentional. Every human being maintains a constant inner conversation, often unnoticed, that shapes perception, behavior, and emotional response. This dialogue can either reinforce limitation or cultivate strength. The morning routine provides a rare opportunity to consciously guide this conversation before external influences distort it. Most people begin their days with unconscious self-talk, rooted in worry, pressure, or comparison. These thoughts feel automatic, but they are learned patterns. When left unchecked, they create emotional resistance that lingers throughout the day. A successful morning routine interrupts this cycle by introducing deliberate, empowering language at a moment when the mind is most receptive. This internal dialogue is not about repeating empty affirmations or denying reality. It is about grounding the mind in truth while orienting it toward possibility. Statements such as acknowledging effort, reinforcing commitment, and recognizing personal capability help establish a balanced mental state. When these messages are repeated daily, they begin to replace outdated narratives of inadequacy or fear. Equally important is the tone of this dialogue. The mind responds not only to words but to emotional intent. A calm, confident tone signals safety and control, while a harsh or critical tone triggers resistance. Many people sabotage their own growth by demanding too much from themselves too quickly. A morning routine teaches patience without sacrificing ambition. Emotional cues play a critical role in mental priming. Emotions are not obstacles to success. They are signals. Learning to interpret and regulate these signals is essential for sustained performance. During the morning routine, attention is gently directed toward emotional awareness rather than suppression. By acknowledging emotional states without judgment, the mind becomes more flexible and resilient. At its deepest level, the power of a 10-minute morning routine is not found in productivity, discipline, or even success as it is commonly defined. Its true power lies in how it reshapes your relationship with yourself. Every morning you choose to begin your day with intention. You reaffirm that your inner world matters. You declare, through action rather than words, that you are not merely reacting to life but actively shaping it. Over time, this choice transforms self-image. You stop seeing yourself as someone who struggles to stay consistent and begin seeing yourself as someone who shows up, even when conditions are not perfect. This shift in identity is subtle but profound. It changes how you speak to yourself, how you interpret setbacks, and how you respond to pressure. Confidence becomes quieter, steadier, and more resilient. The routine teaches you that control does not come from dominating circumstances, but from mastering internal states. External events will always remain unpredictable. Challenges will arise, plans will change, and obstacles will appear without warning. But when the mind is trained daily to return to clarity, balance, and intention, instability loses its power to derail you. As days turn into weeks and weeks into months, the cumulative effect becomes unmistakable. Focus sharpens, emotional reactions soften, decision-making improves. You begin to trust yourself more deeply, not because everything goes right, but because you know you can respond effectively when things go wrong. This self-trust is the foundation of long-term success in any area of life. The routine also alters how you measure progress. Instead of chasing constant validation or dramatic breakthroughs, you begin to value alignment. Did you act with intention today? Did you stay connected to your values? Did you show up with awareness? These questions replace comparison and self-judgment with growth-oriented reflection. This shift reduces anxiety about the future. When your confidence is rooted in daily practice rather than distant outcomes, uncertainty becomes less threatening. The simplicity of the routine is what ensures its longevity. It does not demand extraordinary effort or perfect conditions. It asks only for presence, honesty, and consistency. 10 minutes protected each morning become a signal to your mind that growth is non-negotiable. Eventually, the routine becomes more than a habit. It becomes a personal standard. a way of living that prioritizes clarity over chaos, intention over impulse, and growth over comfort. From this standard, decisions become easier, boundaries become clearer, and actions become more meaningful. Perhaps most importantly, the routine reminds you that success is not something you chase outside yourself. It is something you cultivate within. Each morning offers a fresh opportunity to realign, recommit, and reset. No matter what happened yesterday, the day begins again with possibility. This is the quiet advantage of those who sustain success over time. They do not rely on motivation. They rely on structure. They do not wait for the perfect moment. They create it each morning, intentionally and consistently. 10 minutes may seem insignificant in isolation, but when those 10 minutes are invested daily, they shape hours, days, years, and ultimately a life. A life lived with awareness, purpose, and resilience. And that is the true purpose of a 10-minute morning routine. Not just to prepare you for the day ahead, but to prepare you for the person you are becoming.